Okay, so today we'll be looking into how do we install MySQL and how do we add those jar files which are supporting the MySQL connection, and how do we manage to have these drivers, like what are the drivers that we are going to use, and how do we establish the connection, and what are the different statements that we are going to use, and how do we get that username, like if for example I'm going to add some username password, right? So in that case, how do we have this username password right from the database? Okay, so that we are going to discuss today. So let me just go ahead with MySQL first, and just I'll try to open this, guys. So I've already installed this, so it has been there for more since last class. Okay, so we have this queries and we try to create one other schemas, and after that we are going to see how we exactly use these things. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, like, I'll tell you what are the different stages, steps, and that we are going to do as part of, like, is MySQL installation. After that, how do we connect the database? Okay, so stages, and we can say steps also. Let me just write it down here. The first is, like, we need to download. Let me write steps for connecting MySQL database. It's like very interesting topic, guys. Okay, so you can see that now how exactly we are going to do it. Okay, so first thing is, like, we need to download. So I'm showing it in terms of MySQL. Okay, so MySQL. After we are going to install MySQL. After create one database, and after that we are going to create. So these are like very simple queries that we are going to write. Create table, and along with the columns, insert values into table. Okay, so this is the first part that we are going to see. After that, we'll discuss about how do we connect this databases. Okay, so we need to configure, otherwise registered driver. So which driver that you want to use? Okay, we have like 4 drivers here. The 4 types of connections that we have, but one driver that we are going to use for registering that particular connection. Okay, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. Okay, so we are going to use type 4. Okay, so why do we need to use type 4? Type 1, type 2, type 3 are like kind of data, but that is also kind of connections, but type 4 is like very enhanced. So we are going to use type 4 connections. Okay, so then after we are going to connect to the database, that is nothing but connection con. Then we are going to write the statement. Okay, this statement is a class, and this statement, what it does is, like, it's going to connect to the database, and it's going to execute the query. Okay, so query execution. So I'll explain you about this. So how do we exactly use it? Then once we get the query, it's going to return you the result statements. Okay, so result state is like we have records, number of records which are available as part of that query, right? So that we are going to get it. After that, we are going to read data, and we are going to store it in a variable. Okay, so this is what the steps for MySQL, and this is what the connections this is what the steps that we use for connecting the database. Okay, connection steps. So let me just first we'll go to the MySQL installer. I'll tell you how do we exactly install this. Okay, MySQL. So what you need to do is, like, you can see that just you need to type MySQL download. There you can see that downloads it is going to show. Click on this MySQL download. It will directly take you to this particular page. Okay, so here you can see we have like MySQL community downloads. Okay, so just click on this community downloads. You'll see we have like all this MySQL downloads. Okay, so here you need to click on this MySQL installer for Windows. Okay, so steps you see there are like very basic steps. You need to go to MySQL downloads, and you can see there is a option. Scroll down at the end, you can see MySQL community downloads. Click on this, and you can see there is an installer. Okay, installer for Windows. Okay, so click on this MySQL installer for Windows. You can see there are like options which are available here. Okay, so you need to take whichever one you want to take. You can take, but I would suggest you to take the complete package, complete installer 8.0.33. So let's see what I have at my end. Okay, see, I have a workbench of like 8.0. Okay, there is a latest version. Okay, so you can click on this download. It will ask you to sign in or sign up. You can just go, no thanks, just start my download. Okay, so just click on this download. You can see there is a MSI which is available. Just click on this. Installer is executable file and you may contain viruses. So it says like, okay, it is only for the operating system that it is showing up. So you already have this installed. Let's go and try to install it again. If we want all of this, I have to install. Yes. Seeing update catalogs and apply upgrades on now. We want to apply this upgrade. See, there's like no upgrade available. It says like already we have this version which is already loaded, right? So it is just asking me for the updates. They're like simple steps, guys. Just you have to click next. Only the thing is like root and the password it will ask you. Okay, so we'll come back. So click on next. So it will check all this, whatever we have. Let me check all of this already. Yes. So I'm going to go next. Next, execute. So for you guys, it will not show up all these things like, apply updates and all. So it will directly take you from the installation. So I have already installed. So I just thought like I can uninstall it, but there is a huge thing that is already installed. Like MySQL database already installed on my machine, but it's like very simple for us. Just what you need to do is like you just need to click on this next. Okay. Only the thing that we change is like, yeah, here we get a password. Okay, so like root and the password it will ask you. You can give your own password, like it can be root and you can give your password. Here I have given like Srikanth at the rate KK42 for me. Okay, so it says something. Okay, it has started. Reading. So this is like free database, so that we are using it. But in case of SQL Server and Oracle, sometimes Oracle, like we can use 10xe and all. But the most of the times we'll see that SQL will be used. Okay, SQL Server and MySQL. So that is the reason why I have picked this MySQL. Still executing it. So it's like showing up downloaded, right? So it will go and upgrade. So I'll repeat the steps again, guys. Go back. Type my SQL download. Click on this my SQL downloads. Okay. See, after this, you can just scroll down. You can see that MySQL community downloads. Click on this option. You can see, click on this MySQL installer for Windows. So you can select this. See, we have other operating system also, but you can go and click on this download. It will start downloading. Okay. So once it downloads, it will ask you for the sign in. You can skip the sign in and you can just go ahead with that. Okay. There is already it is open. Let me just exit from here. It is in terms of in terms of like installation for the first time, it will show all these things. But only thing is like here you can see upgrading, but there it will show directly it is downloading the things and it will just install this. After this, you can see it's like it's downloaded and after that it's installing. Let's give a couple of minutes so it should be done. So what is that first step that we are doing here is like we have downloaded MySQL and then we are installing this. And after that, we are logging into the MySQL. We'll create DB and we'll create table. And after that, we insert values into it. Okay. It's already there. The scripts are ready. Just I'm going to execute it. So for creation of this particular scripts, you can see W3C. Oh, sorry, I think we have to use wc.com. W3C, I think school. Yeah, W3C school. Sorry. So here you can see that MySQL tutorial, everything is available here. So for the SQL, if you want to have this SQL commands that you want to have the SQL tutorial, how do we create this? So these are like, part of our learning. Sometimes they are going to ask you some interview questions. Okay. So if you have well versed with this SQL, so they are going to ask you some questions. I'll give you those questions. What are those questions they are going to ask you and what is the solution for that? Okay. So I'll share it in the group. So here we want to create, see, we have like, create table for this. See, first is like we need to create the database. How do we create the database? Create database name. Okay. So it is done. Still it is upgrading. Okay. So we'll go to the next. Upgrading table. I take sometimes it would take like it will take some time. So now you can see that create database and database name. So we are giving the database name. So once you create it, so database will be created. After that, we are going to create the table. SQL table is like create table name and column data type. Okay, so we have different set of data types here: varchar, char, integer. So that we have to give it here. See, once it is done, so table will be created. So after just give me a second. So let it install. Yes, okay, it's finished now. So it is asking for me to enter the password. So it's like reconfiguring. If something is like just it's going to check for this guys. Okay. Upgrade, in case of upgrade, we have a little kind of like a problem here. But in case of installation, it doesn't do any problem. Kind of like you have to only just click on next and you have to give the password. Okay. Now it is done. So let me click on finish. And yeah, it is like upgraded and we have configured for this. And we have to put everything default there. Nothing we have to change. Everything is like default. So only thing is like you have to just to give your password. Okay. So you can give root password. That also works fine. So starts up MySQL. Let me just do it. This installation process is very easy. MySQL installation process. But in case of if you have something kind of like MySQL server, that is like a edition. That is like we have different editions, professional editions, and the licensed versions would be there. But MySQL is like free for us. Okay, so for practice, you can use this. Okay, so everything is configured and just trying. Credentials checked. This is like it's going to execute. For the first time installation, it doesn't require all these things. You don't need to require the credentials and all, so it will do it itself. Okay, so it is done. Let me just go ahead and try to start the MySQL. Okay, so here you can see we have like command line prompt and we have like all these things, but I'm going to open Workbench 0.0 C. Okay, so at the back you can see that it has opened. Okay, now you can see that we have option here. First we need to connect. So it will connect to the MySQL. And do you see here, guys? So we have already have some scripts here. So I'm going to create some databases for use with a different table name. Okay. Else we have. I'm going to take a new query, new SQL query, and here I'll first create a database. So here I'm going to give it as like a user details. Okay. So once you create it, select this and execute it. Okay. So once you execute, you can see that one row created. Here it is showing up like this is the data. So now you can see that I'm going to create the user also. Okay. So here you see, and it gives Srikanth that localhost identified by Srikanth. So what it does is like it's going to identify me. Okay. So for user, it's already there. Let's go and try to execute it. Okay. If it is there, it will say that it's already there. Okay. So field for localhost operation create user. It is already there. We need not to use this one. If it's not there with you, that what you have to do is like you have to use this. Okay. Create username. So I'll try to create another user here. Let me create Srikanth and Joliet localhost identified by this password. And now the user is created. Okay. So it's like it's already there. So it's not allowing me to do that. Now I'm going to use that database. Okay. So use the database. What is the database that we have created? We have created user details. Okay. So I'm going to give user details. Now, when you say use database, now it is like it is ready for creating our table. We can create. Now, first is like we need to create the database. So if database is not there, where do you store the data? So you cannot store, right? So if we have to first create the database. Okay, as we have this here. So we are creating database. After that, we are creating table. After that, we are inserting values into the table. Okay. Now we go and try to create the table. Okay. So the scripts are already available with me. So you can use this. Okay. I'm going to share those scripts. So here I'm going to give it as like user details. Okay. Table name is user details. Let me give it as like we have already have this, right? So user, because we have given already the database name as like user details. So we'll give something as like user details for user credentials. I'll say user credentials. Credentials. Okay. So this is what the table name. And what is that we want to have is like username, password, and something is like we can give is like okay. User password, username, user password, and here user. I'm just adding something. Okay. So user address, user location, and user occupation, user age. Okay. So what is the primary key? So employee ID that we have given, like earlier, what was the thing that we had is like, so here let me just check what is the primary key that we have given is like employee ID. So here I'm going to give is like, let me take this one as like user ID. Okay, one column should be a primary. Okay, so whenever you are creating any table, what is the table structure here is like say create table, table name. So we have commands also. Can you see create table, table name, column, data type. Okay, so likewise one we have to maintain as like a primary key. So it's not mandatory, but the thing is like it is appreciated to have this. Okay, so you have to give like table name, and this is like column, and this is the data type, and not null, unique key. See, this is all depends on like what is your requirement. Okay, every table will have these things. Okay, so not null or null. So if you want to allow this as like null values, then we can just remove this. Okay, not null is not required. So not null is like definitely we should have the value in it. So otherwise it will throw the error. So what I'm going now, I'm selecting this, I'm executing this. Okay. Once you execute this, so the table will be created. So it will show the table details here. Okay. So otherwise we can do one thing, select star from what is the table name? It's a table name. Okay. Let's go and execute it and see if we have any data here. So we don't have any data. Username, user password, user ID, user location, user occupation, and user age. Okay. So we have this like, but we don't have anything here. See, null. Okay. So there is one thing is you can just enter from here. Okay. So you can see that we can enter the data from here. Otherwise we have to insert. So this is like very user friendly. Okay. So otherwise we can insert the data. So how do I insert? Now I'm going to select this insert statement. Here I'm going to enter this. See what are the fields also it will show you here. Okay. So you can see these are the fields that we have, right? So I'm going to close this one. Out here, going to enter username, insert, not a valid statement. Okay. So insert into what is the table name? This is a table name. Okay. So table name and username. Let me just insert this one. CRC. What we have is like username is like admin, password is 123, ID is like 1, and Srikanth Pawan. So whatever I've added is that I'm going to add your details here. So sir, maybe.
What does virtual means?
Sorry?
What does virtual means?
Virtual names?
No, virtual. VRCH all the types.
So varchar, this is like data type. Okay. So varchar is like it have a different types of.
Okay, varchar.
Okay. We have like char is data type, int is data type, and var data type. Okay. So these are the different data types that we have. Varchar is like it will support both data type as well as like strings. Okay, like strings and numeric values. So that is a thing that we have taken the size, varchar data type, and the size. Okay, so you can just follow this. So here we have like W3 is equal. So in this we have given like it's like clearly given what is the thing that we have to use. Okay, so this is like little different when we are just looking into this Java Selenium. Only thing is like in databases we have other things like how do we exactly retrieve the data, how do we insert the data. I'm just using these commands. Okay, this is like sufficient for us to create the table and then insert the values in it. Okay, so generally in case of real time we don't get a chance to create any tables because those are all like system tables. Only we need to rely on this like what is the command that we have to execute. Okay, select commands that we have to execute, and we don't generally execute or update commands. Okay, select commands, and sometimes we create the stored procedures also. Okay, but stored procedures are little advanced testing, but here what we do is like we are going to look into the basic things first. Okay, so show QA lead, QA1, QA2, QA3, and QA4, and these are the ages. Okay, so let me execute this. Now we see all the values are inserted. Now go and execute this query. I can see all the values are they're inserted into the table. Okay, so we are ready with this like table, and we have data in the table. And the thing is like we need to have the details about like what is the server that we have, like on which port it is hosted. Okay, you can see the 3306 and local host. Okay, so it is hosted on a local. So this is like port that we have to remember. Okay, so now we are ready with the table. Okay, so we are ready with the table and we have a data also. So what is the table name? This is a user credentials is the table name. Okay, so this is the DB. Now we are going to go to this. So now where do we want to create this? We want to create under this. Okay, so we have already configured here. So here I'm going to create one package called vconfig. Okay, under this, I'm going to create a class. Okay, DB configuration. What is that we have to do is like we have to create the connections. How do we do it now? So we have these steps are done. Downloaded, installed, and we logged into the MySQL, created DB, created table, inserted values into the table. Now we need to register the driver and we have to give the connection, and then we have to add the statements and then result set, and we have to read the data from that particular database and store it in a variable. Okay, so for this, what are the steps that we have to follow? First is like install, otherwise add MySQL dependencies. Okay, to the form.xml. Okay, so this is the prerequisite. It's not like we should have this prerequisite set here. I'm just going to take this one and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so it's kind of like a prerequisite for us as MySQL dependencies. So now where do we get this? So we have to type here MySQL dependencies, Maven dependencies. Okay, just type MySQL Maven dependencies. What is that version that we have? 8.0. The version. Where do we check the version here? Second side is showing like 80. Okay, so otherwise you can get the version also. Like, so here it will show you the version 8.0.3. Okay, so I'm going to take this 8.0.33. So here you can see Maven repositories. Okay, SQL connector.java. So copy this. Now go and paste it under Maven dependencies. Okay, so here anywhere within this file that we have to add it. got stuck. Let me. So now it is like added. Here you can see it is building. Okay. Once you add it, this dependency jars will be available under this Maven dependencies. Okay. So at the end you can see it will be added here. So let it add. See, is added. And let's go and search for that MySQL, right? Yeah, you can see MySQL connector. Okay. Now, what do we need to do? We'll be creating the connection. Okay. So now we have to create the connection. How do we create it? I'm going to create a method. Public static void. I'm not going to return anything. Get connection. So this is a method that I'm creating here. And we have to use a method called class.furname. Okay. Class.furname. So what it does is like it's going to register that particular driver, whatever we are tagging, like type of a connection that we are using, right? Type 4 connection that we have to configure first. Okay. So this is nothing but registering the driver. How do we register the driver? Class.furname is the command that we have to use. Okay. Class.furname. So what is this furname? The furname is like, you can see what it does is like it's going to return the object associated with the class or interfaces with the given string name. Okay. So for example, if you are, let's say, code class.class name and to current loader, what it does is like it's going to register the driver on which driver that you want to connect to the database. Okay. So where do we get this driver information? So we have to expand this, and we can see there is a file here, meta, under this meta manifest. Okay. So manifest.mf. So here you can see the information will be there. Okay. So what is that? You can see count dot. So this is the package name. Okay. So export package is the package. This is a driver that we have to use. Okay. Copy this. Where is that located? Meta inf, and you can see manifest.mf. Okay. So it should be here also. Yeah. See what is that jar file that we have added? So this is a jar file, right? It is showing the information about jar file and what are the things that has been added. So here this is one thing. Another one is like in this. So we'll see what are the different things has been added here. See, everything is like it is showing this is the driver. But what is the driver that we have to take is like you can say manifest.mf. So in that we have like com.mysql.cj.jdbc. Okay. So this is what we have to take. I'll close everything. Okay. So these are the information files there. So configuration along with this, like we have some information about like which driver that it is using. Okay. So we have to give this. Now it's going to return exception. We can add this exception, class not found exception. If that is not available, that will be called class not found exception. But directly I'm taking the exceptions here so that we'll get other exceptions also. Okay. Connection exceptions. If connection is not set, then it's going to throw the connection exceptions. We already looked into the connection exceptions, right? In driver, like if something is not SQL exceptions, if something is not connected properly, then it's going to throw the SQL exceptions. Now, what we have to do is like we have to connection. You can see what is that connection? Connection is interface. So this connection interface, what it does is like we have different set of methods in this connection interface. Okay. So you can see connection interface, extend wrapper, auto closing. And what is that we have? See, statement, create statement. So what exactly we have in this case is like we have a statement, and then we have like repeat statement. Okay. So these are like callable statement. So this state, like, these are the different set of methods which are there available inside this particular connection. Okay. Once you connect it, so that we can use those things. Now, what is that we are going to use is like we are going to use. So how do we configure the connection? Is a driver manager. So this is a class. So it's going to return you the connection. Okay. So get connection. So what is that we have to use is like URL, username, and password. Okay. URL, username, and password. So these are the three things that we have to supply. So I know the username, root, and the password is like AK4. Okay, so this is the username and password, and now we have to give the we have to give the URL. Okay, so URL is like the URL that we are going to connect. Okay, so now what is that we have here? Go to this, we have a port, and that port is hosted, like it is hosted on the local host. Okay, so we have to give /local host and give 3306. Okay, 3306. So this is what we have to give. 3306. Okay, so now we got the connection. So as we looked into this, what is that we need to give is like we need to take the statement. Okay, this statement is like it's a class. Okay, so you can see that it's sorry, it's an interface. Okay, so you can see that SQL dot java.sql. Okay, so this is the interface, and this interface is going to have. Now go back to this connection. There you saw the statement, right? See, statement. Okay, so this statement is like when you create this statement, what it is going to do is like it's going to return me that. Okay, creating a statement object for sending statement is nothing but it's going to return that particular. Like if you are creating that connection, after that you are creating the statement. That statement would return you something. Okay, that's nothing but if you execute a query, it's going to return you the result set. Okay, so now we go here and we are going to create the statement. Okay, so create statement connection dot create statement. And now we'll take smdd dot execute query, and execute query is like we have to give the query. Okay, so let me just go and try to execute select a star from. So what is the database name that we have here? Like table name. Let's close it. Now you can see this is the table name. Okay. Now it will return something, right? Execute query, what it does is like it's going to return is the result set. Take the result set. See how it is binding. First we are registering the driver, and this after registering the driver, we are creating the connection. This connection, it's like it's going to get the connection based on this particular details, URL, username, and password. After that, what it does? So it's going to connections. Once we create this statement, it's going to return you the particular statement. From that statement, we are going to execute. This statement would be return you the result set. Now we got the result set. Okay. So result set, it's a class. Okay. So we have to see now it's a sorry, this is also interface. So all the interfaces that we are using, only one we have is like connection is also kind of like interface. So rest of the things, like we have few classes that we can use it, and driver manager this is a class. Okay, so this is a class, and rest of the things, all of them are like interfaces. Let me just go ahead and already saved it, right? Close it. Okay, first registering the driver, then creating the connection, then executing the statement, like creating the statement. Then after we are executing this particular query using the statement, and it's going to return you the result set. Okay, so now we got the result set. So result set, what it's going to do? So it's going to return you. It's going to return you a data representing table. Okay, that's nothing but data representing a table. That's nothing but from the database, it's going to get you that particular table as an object. Now what we have to do is like we have to iterate that. Okay, so we have to iterate the details which are given as part of like a result set. Okay, so here you can see we have a sample code statement, create connection, and it's going to return you this particular result set. This is what we have did, right? So now we have done these things. Now after this, what it is going to do is like it's going to return you the results. Okay, so you can see here we are going to just write a while statement here. While loop. Why are we using while loop? We are not sure like how many number of rows that we have inside that particular result set. So here that is the reason why we are going to use the while loop. Okay, so we have some sample sample set of code that is given here. So that's nothing but here you can see we are going to use the next method to get the results from the result set. Okay, so for the result set we have the sample code, And here you can see how do we get this. Okay, so these are the different methods that we have. Okay, so insert row, we don't use all of them. So only thing is like we are going to retrieve the data from that, right? So for that reason, we are going to use the next. Okay, so next is the method that we are going to use. So here we'll go and try to use this rs dot next. So what it does is like it's going to check for this. If the element is there, then it's going to return you the boolean value. Okay, so if it is true, then we are going to get it. So here I'm going to take the string and I'm going to get the value of it. How do I get it? Is like rs dot get string. So you have to just give the column name. Okay, column name. Give the column name. What is the column name that we have here? Okay, I want to get the username. Okay, I want to get the username. So here I got this. Now I'm going to print the value. We have this local host and we need to give the, now it is like, we have to connect to the database. Okay, so we have given like, URL, this is the URL, but what is the database that we have to connect here? So that we have to provide here. Okay, so what is that actually string that we have to use is like localhost database is equals to the user details. Quickly, can we use it or? Oh, get connection. Connection database that we again localhost. Localhost, this is the code that we have configured. Here we need not to give it. Let me just remove this root and let me just check it here. So what is that? Username and password. It's going to connect to this get connection URL. So we can take the sample from here also. URL. JDBC. Okay, this is what database URL that we have. JDBC sub protocol, and we have subname, and normally connection arguments that we are going to, it is like username and password, and returns a connection from there. So here also it is not given. Let me add it here. I think here we can add it. So let me add the user details, and then we are going to type this one. Let's go and try to execute this code and see. Okay, so here we have to static void. I'll test it with main method, then we'll go and check with the get connection method. Okay, so string of arguments. I click and go and execute this. Now it is trying to connect to the database. This is what it is trying now. com.mysql. So this class is not found. It says like this is not registered on this. Let me just check. That is fine. sql.cj.jdbc. Driver class, everything is fine here. So package name com.mysql.jc.jdbc. This is fine. So that is what we have to take here, guys. So okay, let me change one thing here. So I mean this could be fine, but here instead of giving it here, let me take a select slash, and this is the database, and let me change this one in the same way that we use as for SQL Server. Okay, so that is what I am trying to do here now. JDBC, and it should be so MySQL, and in this we are going to use this. Yes, localhost. Let's see if this works. Okay, so in JDBC in SQL, what we do is like we are going to use like JDBC SQL Server, and we are going to give the server location, and after that port, and after that we are going to give the database, like which database that we want to connect with the username and password. So let's go ahead and try to execute this. So it is not showing up this com.mysql. cj.jdbc. So this is what we have. Let me just check whether we have taken the proper thing or not. SQL JDBC connection and the version. This is the version. Yes, this is fine. And ranking in JDBC is SQL connector. Otherwise, I'm going to use one more thing here. Instead of this, I will use mysql.jdbc. We have a driver that I'm going to use. Okay, so com.sql server jdbc.driver, this we can use. Okay, I mean, like in case of SQL, if we are using this MySQL, we can use two of this. One is like cj.jdbc, another one is like jdbc driver. So these are things, these things should work now. This is deprecated. Okay, so it says like it's deprecated, but you can see the data that whatever we are trying to get is like we are getting it. So it's deprecated. You can use this one. So this is what it says. Okay, one thing that we missed is like jdbc.driver actually. Okay, so let me just go here and try to check whether I have copied complete thing or not. So it's going to show you which driver that it's going to use. Okay, so go to this MySQL, expand this, go to this meta.inf. Yeah, JDBC that we have copied this one, right? So only thing is like we have to open the dot driver. So this is what it is suggesting. Okay, so you can use this like this is what new driver is like lastcom.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. So that is like it's showing up deprecated. So we can remove that and we try to add this one. The only thing is like what we have to add here cj.jdbc.driver. Okay, so let me just save it and try to execute it now. See, now we got the data admin. Okay, so what is the username that we have in this database? We have this admin. Okay, all the details are coming. Now, if you want to have the password, you have to just give the password. Username, that's nothing but user password. Just you need to give the column here. Okay, we got it. Only thing is like guys, again I'm going to repeat it. What I have done is like just to see this is nothing but registering the driver. So where do we get this driver information? You can see once you add these dependencies. Okay, the first is like prerequisites, like you need to add the dependencies. So where do we add these dependencies? What is this pom.xml file? And we have added the dependency. Okay, how do we get this dependency? Which dependencies that we need to add? Go to this database and you can see the information about it. Okay, so it will show you which version of database it is, like which version of server it is using. Okay, so here you can see this is the version of the server. Go to the browser and you can see that MySQL Maven dependency and you can get the version. Once you give the version number, it will show you the dependency. Copy this dependency, go to your class, and here you need to add the dependency. Once you add this dependency, it's going to show up the reference libraries in under this particular Maven dependencies. So select that MySQL. Under this, which driver that you need to add. Okay, so that driver information will be here. So where is it located? Expand this MySQL connector, and after that you have to give this particular, expand it, and after that you need to check what is the version of it. Okay, so the version is important here. So, and after that just expand this meta inf, and you can see that meta, sorry, manifest. Okay, so under this you can see that manifest.mf. Okay, so double click on it, you can see it will show like from where it is getting exported, like what is the packages that is using and what is the data that it's exporting from that particular package. So you need to copy this. Okay, com.mysql cj.jdbc.driver. Everywhere it is like you can see. So it is using that com.mysql cj. Okay, so it is bringing all the details from that. Okay, so what you need to do is like you just need to take this and go to your class. It's already saved. Save it. Go to the class from where you are going to register the driver. So type this command class.funname and enter the driver information here. Okay, so this particular line is like, I'll just write a comment here. So this is first one, registering JDBC driver. Okay, so second thing what we need to do is like establish connection to the database using URL, username, and password. Okay, so establishing connection. Now create statement object using connection. Okay, connection on. So we have created the statement also. Now execute query and get result set. Okay, then we got the result set. Now what we have to do is like iterate result set to get column values. Okay, so now you see it is like clear, right? So registering the driver, establishing connection, creating statement, executing query, and getting the result set and reiterating the result set. Okay, now it's like it's all up to you, like which particular column value that you want to get. For example, username, if you username, so you can just want to print. So I'll give username here, username, and user password. Copy this, paste it here, copy this, and paste it here. Give some, just I'm just want to print it. Right, you can just use one statement at a time and then you can print it. Okay. Okay. Now you see username and password will be retrieved. Admin. So the thing is like I need to just add space to it. Otherwise, you can use this. Yesterday is like formatting, just to show you the formatting. the admin 1 to 3. Okay, likewise, you can bring all the data from that table. Now, it is like you can see this now. How do you store these values? Okay, for example, if you want to use this particular code and if you want to retrieve the data from that particular database and you want to store the values, okay, so when you run it, only it's going to pull the details. But in case like if you want to store this as an object, okay, as an object, and this object should be like kind of it should be like key pair value, okay, key and pair value. That's like key value pair. Okay, key value pair. So in that case, what we have to do is like we have to just use a list of list or kind of map that we can have this map, and then we can store this data in the form of like a key value pair. Okay, so I thought like I can cover it today, but we'll try to close it tomorrow, guys. So we'll have this just what you need to do is like today you can go and try to practice this. First and foremost thing is like install this MySQL, and these steps I'm going to send it over the in WhatsApp. I'm going to put, so just as like I thought I can show you, but it's already there in my machine. I try to upgrade it. Okay, that's nothing, but I try to update it to the other version. So it worked fine. In case of installation also, you have to follow the same steps. Okay, so for this I'm going to share the document. Okay, how do we exactly install this MySQL? Okay, it's very easy. Just you need to go to that. I'll just show it again. There is no difficulty in it. Just you can go here, type this MySQL download, go to this MySQL downloads, scroll down, click on this MySQL community downloads, and after that you see MySQL installer for Windows. Click on it, and you can download this one. Okay, the first one, just take the this one is enough for us. Okay, so you can just use this one, or you can use this one also. Okay, so download it. Anyone would work fine. Okay, if it is not working, then you can go ahead with this. So this is like bigger version. Okay, so you need not to have these things. Okay, this is like kind of we have a community in that it will load. It will try to download servers and everything will be downloaded. Okay, so instead of that, I'm just taking the lighter version. It's all up to us like which one you want to take. I suggest you to go with this one. Otherwise, you can go this one. If it is not working, we can go ahead with this. Okay, so click on this download. Then it's like all next. Only the thing is like we have to give our username and password. Okay, username would be like root by default, and password would be like it's all up to us like which password you want to use. Okay, so why it is required? See, when you are trying to see, now I'm going to for example log out from this. Okay, let me just exit. Now when I come back again to the MySQL, see what you have to select is like MySQL Workbench C. Okay. Now you see that it's going to ask me that this is the user and this is the host. Okay, localhost. Now click on this. So it will ask you the username and password. It's already connected, so it's not asking me. But in case like if it's not connected, because I have stored that in Vault. Okay, so if it's not connected, then you have to give the password. So, and this password, the same password, we are going to use it when we are trying to connect to the database. Okay, here you can see username and password. So root, username and the password. Here we are giving the password. Okay, and once we are done with that, we have to come to this particular project and take the package here. So you can take whichever package you want. Like I'm just putting everything under this resources because I want to use this one as like, hey, for example, see now I want to just create the connection here. I can use it in the test here. Okay, so Java test, where is the Java test that we have? Yeah, so test Java. So here I can create a class and I can call this connections and I can use it here. Okay, so how do we use it is like log and test. Here what I'm going to do is like I'm going to use that particular for example, if I'm creating object for that class, right, from that object I'm going to get the variables like values from that particular class. So here to test it, I'm just putting it as like a public static void main, so that I can just check it what are the values that I'm going to retrieve as part of database connection. Okay, so that is for that I've created the class and I'm just using this first command class.forName to register the driver. So from where I'm going to get this driver? So go to this member dependencies. After adding the dependencies, you can see there is MySQL. Jar will be added, expand it, and you can go to the meta INF. In this meta INF, you can see manifest.html mf. So go here and try to copy this com.mysql cj.jdbc. Okay, copy dot driver. Okay, so just you need to add this append this. So earlier we tried with this, so it was not working. So and we tried the another one also, right? MySQL com.mysql. I just removed this cj.driver, then it started working, but it is like deprecated. So the new one is like com.mysql cj.jdbc.driver. Okay, so once it is registered, it's going to establish the connection. What is the connection string that we have to give? URL jdbc colon mysql colon / and localhost. Okay, this is nothing but where that particular MySQL is located, on which port it is located, and what is the database it is using, and what is the username and password. So this is nothing but URL and username and password. Okay, so once you get the connection, we are going to create the statement. So we have like different types of things here. So we have con dot prepaid statement is also there. Okay, so call statement is also there, prepaid call and prepaid statement is also there. Prepaid statement and prepare calls. Okay, so this will be used for different things. Okay, so we need not to worry about this, because the only thing is like what we are going to do is like we are going to create the statement. Okay, so we create the statement, and this statement will return you the statement object. Then what we do is like we are going to use the statement dot execute query. We have two things here. Okay, one is like execute query, another one is like we have execute update. Execute update will update, but execute query will retrieve the data. Okay, so if you want to update, you can use execute update. In that case, we use update column name or table name, whatever we want to use. Okay, so execute query is like it's going to execute this particular statement and it will return if the result set. So once we get the result set, then we are going to reiterate it. Okay, so we are iterating it and we are using a method rs.getString is nothing but it will get you the values of that particular column. So this is nothing but column name. Okay, so you can give the index also. If you are sure about like index, you can give the index also. Okay, so indexing, so it should bring the data. Our column name is like what we suggest. Okay, so generally column index is out of range, 0 is 1. Okay, so it says like 1, it should start from 1. So we got the details. Okay, so it's all up to us. So what you want to use, but better I suggest you to take the column names. Okay, column names. Once you get the column names, now what it is doing is like it is fetching all the records from this result set, and it is like showing it here. We are just storing it in a variables. Okay, so this is what we have discussed, right? So storing in a variable, read the data and storing it in a variables. Okay, so I suggest you guys to just practice this. So yesterday I could not able to share this complete project, but today I'll be sharing it. Okay, so sample PRJ, right? I'll just go to this. Just give me a second, guys. I'm just sharing this so that it will be easy for you to practice. Okay, I'll go here, go to the properties. Let just right click. This. Okay, I have added that, you can check it. Okay, so use these things. Pom.xml is also available for you guys. Everything, grid information is already also available here, and whatever we have discussed so far in this project, everything is available under this. Okay, so what you need to do is that just you need to extract it, and here go to the file, and you can see import. Okay, so import general, existing project into the workspace. So you can give the location from where you want to export. Just you need to extract it and select that project and click on next. It will get uploaded and it will just show you in the Eclipse. Okay, so try to download that, guys, and just extract it and put it there and follow the steps. Okay, so import and you can give this, like we have Maven also. It will show you like existing Maven projects. In any ways we can do it. Okay, so this is like number of ways we have, like, but the best way is like we can do this one. If it is not working in this way, go to this and just click on this, expand this Maven, and you can see existing Maven projects. Click on next. It will ask you to browse that location. Just give that location, click on next, it will get added. Okay, so tomorrow I will show you like how do we read this data, like, pass it as a parameter for the execution in Selenium. Okay, sorry guys, sorry. So we had some problem, and today there was like problem from my end. Actually, I need to restart my machine. So that was the thing which happened. Okay, so this is available for you guys. Please practice and let me know if you have anything. And this is very important for us. And interview as part of interview.